Today we're going to talk about comparing and ordering integers. Before we do that, let's talk about our number routine. In our number routine, come up with at least two ways the numbers are alike and at least two ways the numbers are different. So we have two numbers here. So we have the absolute value of negative 15 and the opposite of the absolute value of 15. What are they alike? Well, if I say they are alike, they both use the number 15 and they both have absolute values. I see absolute value bars. However, what makes them different? The negatives, here the negatives in the inside of the absolute value bar, here the negatives on the outside. So let's solve it. Let's find the value of each one. How far is negative 15 from 0? What's the distance of negative 15 from 0? 15. What is the distance of 15 from 0? 15. But what's the opposite of 15? Negative 15. So the answers, so they both have different values or different solutions. This is the answer, the solution, or this is 15, and the solution here is negative 15. So number line, you are going to be given different types of number lines. And in this number line, as you can tell, they're all integers. How do I know they're integers? Integers are negative whole numbers, and its opposite, including 0. Again, these are whole numbers. Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Positive. Integers include its opposite, which are negative and 0. So which integer is greater? Let me mark each one with my highlighter. I see 3 and 5. Which integer is larger? Of course, you'll say 5 is larger because 5 apples more than 3 apples. But is there another way? I'm not sure why they did that. So we have 3 and 5. Is there another way you can say that? For example, how do you know 1 is bigger than negative 2? Well, of course, 1 is positive. Negative 2. Some people say, well, if it's farther from 0, it will be bigger, it will be greater. But if you look at it, isn't negative 2 farther from 0 than 1? So that means negative 2 must be larger. What can we say about a number line? Well, in a number line, it goes from least to greatest. A number line goes from least to greatest, and that what makes a number line. So the least numbers are to the left of the greater number, which are to the right. For example, 5 is to the right of 3. 5 is greater than 3. 5 is to the right of 1. That's why 5 is larger than 1. 5 is to the right of negative 2. That's why 5 is greater than negative 2. Let's use a different pen and show you. For example, we have two negatives, negative 4 and negative 7. Which one is greater? Well, negative 4 is greater than negative 7 because it is to the right. Is to the right of negative 7. Another way you could think about it is if someone borrowed $4, if someone, let's use real life situation, someone borrowed $4, someone borrows $7, who is richer or greater? The person who borrowed $4, because they are only $4 in debt, while this person is $7 in debt. Football is a football team lost 4 yards, and another football team lost 7 yards. Which team is greater in sport? The team that lost only 4 yards. So we are going to plot these. Negative 9, plot 3, plot negative 1, plot negative 10, and plot 7. Put these numbers are the integers, whole numbers and the opposite and 0, from least to greatest. As you can tell, when you plot them, it makes it way much easier. As you can tell, this negative 10 is the least, then negative 9, then negative 1, then 3, and 7. It goes from least to greatest. Let's try to use real life situation. If a team had a loss of 10 yards, they are the least worthy team. Then team lost 9 yards, lost 1 yard. They gained 3 yards. Gained 7 yards. That's the greatest team. Houston Texans will be where on the spectrum? Next one. Let's plot these. Let's use my crayon. I'll use a crayon this time. I see -8. I see 8. I see -1. I see -2. I see -6. And I see 3. So I just plotted it. Now I'm going to put them from, greatest to least. So on the number line, the greater numbers are to the right. So the greatest number is 8, 3, -1, -2, -6, and -8. From greatest to least. Next one. Let's plot these. Let's use a different color. I plot 2. I plot -12 will be right here, 2 units to the left, and -10. I plot 13. Plot -1. -15 will be back here, and -1 again. So let's put these from least to greatest. So from least to greatest, I see -15, then -13, -1, -1, 2, and 13. I'm going to have to remove one of these -1 in my next one. All right, so now we have more stuff, more practice. So in a number line, as you can tell, you have 0. The number gets, when you're farther from 0 in the negative side, it gets smaller. When you're farther from 0 on the positive side, it gets greater. And for practice one, this is negative. Let me use my select button. This is -2. Where would you find 3 here? I would find 3 to the right, 3 units to the right of 0. Where would you find -4? I find -4, 2 units to the left of -2. Where would you find integers greater than -2? Least to greatest, so it'll be down here. Where would you find integers less than -2? Be somewhere down here to the left. Whole numbers. Where would you find whole numbers? Whole numbers are positives and absolute value of -2. How far is -2 from 0? What's the distance of -2 from 0? 2 units. So we go right there. So the main thing what we learned today is how to compare and order integers. In the number line, it goes from least to greatest. If you understand that part, then you'll be able to answer any question about comparing and ordering integers. So it goes from least to greatest.